Today's August 22nd, 2013, and for those of you that don't know me, my name's Al Glick, and along with my brother Robert, we formed Alro Steel June 1st, 1948. We're in about the third month of our 65th year, and unfortunately, my brother passed away a few years ago, but he was one of the great role models in my life, and I just want to kind of give a history of Alro. I don't know how long God's going to let me stick around, but I want to make sure that the culture that we started in 1948 continues, and our culture has always been do what you say you're going to do. Be reliable, be dependable, exceed expectations to the best that you can. What has made Alro successful has been people working together over all the years, and whether it was day one when we had few employees or today when we've got over 2,000, we want to emphasize to everybody we want to continue to grow, but the only way we're going to be successful is by working together. I really wanted to be a sports writer, and had an opportunity to work for the local paper, which I did part-time for 4 years, with 2 years in high school, and 2 years when I went to college during all the off time. And one day the editor of the paper called me in and said, "Al, I hear you're doing a really good job in the sports department. How would you like a full-time job at the paper?" And I said, "Great," and we worked everything out. We finished up the conversation. He said, "Well, can you start Monday covering the police beat?" And I had to think a little bit, and I stepped back and I said, "Thank you, Mr. Saunders. I appreciate the opportunity, but I don't think it would be very good covering the police beat." And had he have said I was going to be the assistant sports editor within him one, there would not be an Alro. When I wasn't working, I was just still helping out the paper, but I didn't have a job. And my brother Bob said to me, "I'm going around to different shops today, and I'm finding out that there's a shortage of all kinds of material. In fact, every place has some excess. Why don't you see if you can match up the two?" And my comment was, I don't know anything about that. And Bob's great common sense, he says, "Well, you aren't doing anything." He said, "What do you got to lose?" For a year and a half, I was pretty much on my own in trying to match up excess material at plants and with customers that were looking for things, and I really enjoyed it. I only worked maybe 70 or 80 hours a week trying to match that up. I had a company at that time that was called Alro Steel. It was A-L-S-T-E-E-L, and that was for about a year and a half or 2 years. And then my brother said, my dad wasn't paying much attention to what I was doing, but Bob said to my dad, "You're not paying attention to that, so I think he's got something going. We ought to do something about it." So we formed Alro Steel on June 1st of 1948. I tried to always hire people that would exceed expectations. And starting from 1948, when we started through today, we still look for employees that can exceed expectations and do with the culture that came from my father, and be reliable, be dependable, do what you say you're going to do. And that's the thing I want to impress upon everybody in the future, because I'm going to retire in 35 more years, and that'll give me 100 years of the company. That is June 1st of 2048. We've already got the University of Michigan Big House lined up, so if you people don't have any plans for that date, put it down on your schedule. Through the years, as we've grown, and now we have a little over 2,000 employees, and I never had any great plan for what was going to happen with Alro. I just started working hard, and whatever happened, it happened, but we've had great people from the day we started, and people give me a lot of credit for building the company, and that credit shouldn't go to me. That credit really has got to go to all the employees and all the people that's worked here during the years that's made this company successful. I like to say today that we have generally great facilities, we have tremendous inventories, great technology, and great equipment, but none of that is worth anything unless we have great people working together as a team. I think the University of Michigan is one of the great universities in America, and we follow their culture. It's all about people working together and teamwork and the communications. They allow me to go to football practice. Right now, our head football coach is Brady Hoke. And Brady says when I go over there, he said, you don't go over to watch practice, you're going over to recruiting. And I'm trying to pick people in watching, in recruiting that exceed expectations in practice, and many times those people end up at Alro. In trust and loyalty, I have to talk a little bit about Dave Hill. Dave is a professional golfer that he grew up in Jackson next to a golf course. We started working with Dave in 1965 full-time, and up until the day that he passed away, we just had a great relationship, and we went through the first three or 4 years, and Dave just kind of made a living. In 1969, he developed in one of the world's greatest golfers, and probably from 1969 through most of the 70s, Dave was probably in the top 10 in the world. The one thing that Dave did for us when he went on the pro tours, he already carried a bag with Alro Steel on. We got so much television publicity with him carrying our bag. Big companies, huge companies, 1,000 times bigger than Alro, wanted Dave to carry their bag and wear their hat. But Dave said, Al, I want you to know I got a chance to make a lot more money with some of these big companies. But he says, you know, you helped me when I first started, and as long as you want me, I'm always going to wear your hat, and I'm always going to carry your bag, and I don't care what you pay me. And I call that loyalty. That's kind of the same way we run our business. When I first started, we had very little inventory, and the only places that we really could serve were small shops. There are a lot of tool and die shops in Jackson, tool machine shops, and machine tool builders. They're the ones that helped Alro get started. And I don't want our people in the future to ever, I want them to treat every customer, large or small, like they're our best. And don't forget about the little guy. And I try to remind our people, the big guys were little guys once, they didn't start big. And how important it is to treat every customer with the same respect. And always be reliable, always be dependable, do what you say you're going to do. When I first started, I sold a truckload of steel. I don't even know where I got it. All I know is I had a truckload of steel that I promised to get into Detroit the next day. And there were 2 truck lines in Jackson that I always used. So I called them up, and they said, we don't have any trucks, and we can't get any for you. And so I said, what am I going to do? I've made this commitment. I got to live up to my word. So I went out on I-94, the main highway between Detroit and Chicago, and there's always a bunch of empty steel trucks coming back. So I'm probably 21, 22, 23, and I'm standing out on the highway, and these trucks come by, and I'm waving at all these trucks and trying to get them to stop. After about a half an hour, one of the truck drivers stopped and said, can I help you? Anything I can do? And I told him what I was looking for. He said, I'm not sure if I can, if I got a permit to carry that, but let me check. So some way he checked and got to the office, and he said, well, I can take that load of steel. So he followed me down to where we had the steel. We loaded it up. He delivered it within a couple hours. And it's just to figure out how to do it. And I didn't want to call that customer up and disappoint him because I'd made a commitment. Well, we all make mistakes, and I've made my share of them over the years, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I've made mistakes, and hopefully I've learned from them, not all the time. But that's a kind of a interesting situation. This probably was 20, 30 years ago when I was involved day-to-day in sales, and I had a customer call me up one day, and he said, Al, I need 30 bars of 1x12, 1018. And 1x12 is flat, and I know it weighs about 500 pounds a bar, and that's 15,000 pounds. And we didn't have it in stock. So I said to the customer, we don't have that much in stock, but I know I can get it in a few days. He said, that's fine. He said, I'm not in a hurry for it. 15,000 pounds comes in. We deliver it to him. And he calls me up, and he says, Al, he says, you didn't send me what I ordered. I said, what did you order? He said, I ordered 30 bars of 1x12, 1018. And I said, well, what did we send you? He said, you sent me 30 bars of 1 inch flat, 12 inches wide, and I wanted 30 bars of 1 inch round, 1018. And my immediate response is, is, apologize for making that mistake. We've got 30 bars of 1-inch round 1018 in stock, and we can deliver it yet this afternoon. We'll pick up the 30 bars of 1x12, and I apologize for it. This is what we try to teach our people. If there's a mistake, don't make the customer feel awkward about it. And here's a case where I accepted the responsibility. Could I have gone into it deeper? Probably. But when he says 30 bars of 1x12, I took it for a flat, and we sent him the wrong item. And it was our mistake, and we apologize for it. We don't want to win the argument, lose the customer. I like to tell our people, if we have to issue a credit to a customer, that issue that credit with the same enthusiasm you have for a sale, and don't hold that up and get that paperwork in and get that credit right out. I'd like to talk about Alro being a privately held company in our family's involvement. And, I mentioned previously how important my brother is when we first started. Today we've got several family members that are important parts of our management team. And I want to make this point that every one of them has earned the position, and they've had to do and learn the business, and they have to earn it and deserve it and not expect it of the family. And we expect our family to exceed expectations. My nephew Barry, my brother's son, Barry's been with Alro for probably 30 years. He moved to Florida when we needed somebody to take care of our Florida locations, and Barry has just done an absolute fantastic job developing the Florida area, and Barry currently is the vice chairman of the board. His brother Carl, who worked with my brother Bob at the scrap company, has come with Alro probably 10 or 15 years ago. And Carl really is not into the operations, but he takes care of many necessary areas in corporate structure and leasing and building buildings, and he gets involved in that. And he's also very instrumental in the contributions in our foundations. My son Randy, he grew up in this business, and I got a picture of him that is great. When he's about 4 or 5 years old, I took him down to the office, and he's looking at a saw right then. Randy has a great mind for equipment, and he understands equipment probably better than anybody that I've ever met. And I know he didn't get that from me, but I don't know where he got that from. But Randy does a great job. And Carl's son, Brian has ran a branch. He's worked at branches. He's worked at IT. And now he's in charge of non-ferrous purchasing, and Brian does a great job. And so when we look into the future, we got several family members that can carry on the tradition that we started. I've been doing this for 65 plus years, and I'm still motivated to want to make sure the company does the right thing. And with all the technology that we have, and we have great technology, the business has changed so much, and people call me a freak because I got an iPad and an iPhone. And people my age aren't supposed to have that. But fortunately, that interests me, and to me, it's a real plus for the company because I can go ahead and support, whatever it takes. And we've had great people that have developed the technology we have, and I go back to the same thing. It hasn't been one person; it's been a lot of people working together. We can't afford complacency. If you don't get better, you're going to get worse. You got to continue to improve. And I'm going to go back to football, and I don't care which team it is, whether it's college or pro, whatever. Coaches always want to improve, and we want to continue to improve. And it's easier to get on top than it is to stay on top. And I don't want to say that we're on top, but I think we're leaders in our industry in technology and some other things. But we've got to continue to improve, but anybody that gets complacency, there's only one way to go, and that's the wrong way, and that's going down. And we want to make sure that in the future that we continue to grow and do the right things to make the company continue to be successful. But one of the big challenges today is teaching people. And we constantly have new people that are new employees and other employees from different branches. And we have superintendents coming in from different branches 2 or 3 times a year, and we try to bring them up to date and teach them. We have people coming in that want to learn sales or start with Alro. And one of the big emphasis we have is on teaching people. And one of the most difficult things that we're finding as we continue to grow is getting people that have the passion and want to take on responsibility. And we're trying to pinpoint people that are coming in that have that desire. And future growth in Alro is going to depend on having people that understand our culture and want to take on responsibility. It's amazing today how many people don't want responsibility, but there's still a lot of them out there that do. And so we're always searching for people that want responsibility and want to grow with the company in it. And you can't learn this business overnight. So it's taken me 65 years and I'm still learning. The foundations of Alro are basically our people. We supply we have great inventories. We're constantly improving facilities, buying new and more modern equipment. Our IT and our systems are very great. But with all of that, the most important asset we have in the company is our people. But the people have got to work together, and it's people working together as a team, and that's our most important asset. The rest of those things are very meaningless if we don't have people working together. Being reliable, being dependable, do what you say you're going to do. Be a team player.